What's up, fellow Balatro enjoyers? If you are as absorbed into the game as I am, but you're struggling to get consistent wins, this is the video for you. In this video, I'm going to cover a few things that the game doesn't explicitly tell you, but can have actually a massive impact in your success in Balatro. Firstly, the order of the cards that you play actually does matter. You can drag the order of the cards you play when you have them selected. For example, if you have a glass card that scores a ×2 multiplier, you want it to be at the end of your card lineup to ensure it's multiplying the largest number possible. As with all things Balatro, there are always exceptions if you have specific jokers, and in this case, if you have the joker Hanging Chad, which re-triggers the first card in your lineup, you may want to put that glass card first. Similarly, the order of your jokers also matters. All of the plus chips and plus mult jokers you want to have at the start of your joker hand, and any times multipliers you want after everything else has been added. Your jokers can also be moved around freely at any point during the game, so if you have something like Blueprint or Brainstorm, you can do some fun shenanigans with copying their effects at the selection of blinds, during scoring, and at the end of rounds. When you're deciding what hand to play, you can actually hover over your deck or even click into it to see which specific cards remain. This can help you figure out the rough odds of pulling the cards you need to create a really good hand to play. I'd recommend doing this often and try to win each round in as little hands as possible. Try to go for the higher value hands like flush and full house because they're not particularly difficult to get, but they will help you get more money early on. The more hands you have left over at the end of the round, the more money you'll earn. Some of the jokers don't explicitly tell you the full picture, so watch out for this. One card that comes to mind is the Ride the Bus Joker. Now it tells you that the joker gains a +1 mult per consecutive hand played without scoring a face card. But what it doesn't tell you is that if you do score with a face card, it resets to 0. It's always best to assume in Balatro the worst case scenario if a joker isn't super specific. One of the best ways to increase your success in this game is having a lot of money. Having a high buying capacity in Balatro means you'll be able to re-roll the shop, buy Arcana packs and Spectral packs, giving you the ability to manipulate your deck. Deck manipulation is the key to scoring high in Balatro. Early in your run, you'll want to start making decisions about what to keep and what to ditch. Aces are a great card to lean into because they're high scoring, they have jokers that specifically buff them, and they're not face cards, so they suffer from less debuffs than kings, queens, and jacks. Make the decision early on in your run what card and what suit you want to lean into, and start focusing on upgrading these cards with enhancements, seals, and additions. All cards can have 1 enhancement, 1 seal, and 1 addition. So for example, you could have a lucky polychrome ace with a red seal, and that is the dream. The tarot cards that are best for deck manipulation are the Death card and the Hanged Man. The Death card allows you to copy 1 card into another, and the Hanged Man allows you to destroy 2 cards. This will obviously make it more likely that you'll pull your strongest cards. Speaking of tarot cards, if you see an Arcana pack in the shop and you have the funds, re-roll the shop until you have 1 or 2 additional tarot cards in your consumable area before you open the pack. This gives you more opportunity to modify your deck in a meaningful way. Just make sure you use the tarot cards in your consumable area before you use the cards down the bottom, as this will progress you past the pack screen. So for example, if you open a Mega Arcana pack and you have an Empress card and a Death card appears in the pack, you can mult the cards first and then create a copy of them with the Death card. Now I know that may have sounded hyper-specific, but you'd be surprised how often this makes a massive difference. You can also use Spectral cards in the Arcana pack screen and vice versa. The shop is your best way to change up your deck, so absolutely take your time here. But also try to be mindful of wasting money when it's not totally needed. Keep that buying capacity as high as possible so that when good options do show up, you have the money to buy them. When you're new to the game or you're really struggling to get those wins, I would personally recommend focusing on unlocking jokers before focusing too hard on going up in stakes. The more jokers you have unlocked, the more potential for strong synergies. Head into the collections tab and have a look at what you need to achieve to get these unlocks. And if you see not discovered on a joker, consumable, or voucher, buy it. All of these things need to be bought to be unlocked, and who knows, maybe they'll even have a stronger form. Now, one thing that I was probably the most confused about when I first started playing Balatro were the tags. Tags are small rewards for skipping a small blind or a large blind. You have 2 opportunities per ante to do a blind skip, and they will stack. Some of these will be rewarded immediately, which will be stated on the skip, and some will require you to beat the next round to appear in the shop following it. Read these tags carefully as it's usually a high risk, high reward type situation, but they can pay off big time when they're used well. Oh, spectral cards, my loves. These are cheeky little buggers, but they are incredibly powerful. When you pull a spectral card that's either going to copy a joker or destroy all other jokers, if you have one particular joker that you definitely want to apply the effect to, what you can actually do is sell all of the other jokers first, so then you can ensure that it copies or applies the correct addition to that specific joker. By doing this, you obviously ensure that it hits the right joker, but you also gain a little bit of extra money from selling rather than having to tragically watch them perish. Now, obviously, this is high risk, high reward. It means you're going to be without all of those other jokers, but in the early game, and if it's a good enough joker, it can absolutely be worth it. If you're ever unlucky enough to get the boss blinds that draw your cards face down, try changing the ordering system from rank and suit to try and figure out what they could be. Obviously, there's still a lot of guesswork involved, but sometimes you can clutch up and figure out a strong hand despite not even being able to see the cards. If you have a tarot or spectral card that alters your card, you can actually use this enhancement to flip the card over, or you can even gamble on a duplication to show what that flip card is. Again, high risk, but it feels legendary when it pays off. And finally, these tips won't get you extra wins, but in the game settings, you can change up the speed once you get a little bit more comfortable with the processing speed of everything. And you can also customize your deck. I'd also recommend popping on high contrast cards as it makes them a little easier to tell apart at a glance. Hopefully with these tips, you can go forth and destroy Ante-8 and beyond. If you have any questions or additional tips that you think that I left out, pop them down in the comments below. But if you made it this far into the video, thank you so much. And if you want to see some Balatro, I play it a lot on my Twitch streams. So hopefully I'll see you there.